Welcome back in. It's a story we covered throughout the year in 2025. The dramatic decline of Harvard University, other Ivy League schools, the anti-ICE protests, the proliferation of anti-Semitism on campus, the relaxation of academic standards, and the university's inadequate response in dealing with all that and more.
Well, now one Harvard history professor says he's had enough. He's leaving. Professor James Hankins, who's taught at Harvard for 40 years, is now blasting the university in an essay announcing his departure. He writes that his decision to leave began back in 2021 after enduring, quote, almost 2 years under the university's strict COVID regime, which he describes as tyrannous invasions of private life.
He also goes on to address the university's reaction to the killing of George Floyd a year earlier, saying that he was told not to admit a top student to the university's graduate program because the candidate was a white male. Okay. In past years, this candidate would have risen immediately to the top of the applicant pool in 2021. However, I was told informally by a member of the admissions committee that was not happening this year, adding, quote, the one exception I found to the general exclusion of white males and begun life as a female.
Well, Hankins says that over the years, wokeness crept into the university's practices, blaming feminist activists for pushing to eliminate the 2-book standard, an expectation that professors publish at least 2 books on their area of expertise. That, he said, was scrapped in an effort to hire more female faculty.
Hankins now has a new job at the Hamilton School of Classical and Civic Education at the University of Florida, which he says is committed to teaching the history of Western civilization. Quote, when you don't teach the young what civilization is, it turns out people become uncivilized. All right, here with reaction on this, Defense of Freedom Institute spokesperson and Independent Women's Forum visiting fellow Angela Morabito. We also have Melanie Collette and Alexander Bauer back with us on set as well. Angela, I'll start with you. I'm glad the professor wrote all those things, but I feel like we already knew all that.
We kind of did, don't you think?
And but, you know, things are kind of happening now. We know the Trump administration is trying to combat a lot of this as well. Your thoughts?
I totally agree. And I think one of the biggest trends we're going to see in 2026 is a real reshuffle of what colleges are considered elite and what colleges are not. We've seen, especially with campus anti-Semitism, how places like Harvard, Columbia, and a great many others, unfortunately, were not holding people to a high standard of integrity and behavior. In fact, they were actively discriminating, not just to the students on campus, but before they even got there. Professor Hankins gives this astounding example of somebody who was told, in so many words, they were too male, too pale to get into Harvard. That is unlawful. It cannot happen anymore. The American people are rejecting it. So I think there's time for a new wave of elite colleges to raise the bar in academics and really put American education at the top of the global rankings again.
Alexandra, you know, your mom.
Yes.
If you had kids who were Jewish, would you be a little concerned about sending them to a lot of these campuses?
I would be extremely concerned. Actually, there's quite a few families in our area that we've had to help because their children are scared to go to school. They've made reports about it. They've made reports even to the police station, and basically were told since nothing had happened yet, they couldn't do anything. So they're being basically told, hey, until you get hurt physically, we can't do anything about it. And I mean, this is something that we're seeing. They're dumbing down our children. We saw the NAEP scores this year. Only 22% of 12th graders can do math, 35% English. This is unacceptable. And we also need to start asking the question, do all kids even need to go to university? Let's bring back the trades.
Trades, that's a big thing.
With you on
can make
that.
a ton of money.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you paid for a plumber recently, or an electrician, or the car mechanic?
There's so few. I've had that thought. If all things go wrong for me, I'll go learn a trade.
One of my nephews is now an electrician. He's making, you know, a lot of good money.
Yes.
Things are good for me right now, though. Melanie, your thoughts on this?
Well, I'll tell you, I was a former public education teacher. I taught high school business classes. I taught 5 years college, computer science. And I can tell you exactly why this is happening. Grading safety nets, no zero policies, equity in teaching, equity in grading, all lowering the standards. One of the reasons why I only lasted 12 years is because of that very thing. I actually pitched a TED Talk about bringing meritocracy back to public education, and I was told that it was an invalid topic because especially black and brown people start on first base while white people start on third base.